It's me, Scott. I'm hanging out, chilling with you for a little while today. It's nice to see all your smiling faces. It's been a long, long week for me. I've been running around with my family trying to help out. We had a family member who got really sick, and they're currently in the hospital and being transferred over to hospice care. During the time in the last week, I've had a lot of time to think because I haven't been doing any readings, no mediumship, no psychic stuff. Just totally had to be here with my family. And there's a couple of things that I've noticed about myself since being like uninvolved with the spirit world in the last week because of all of the craziness and having to be present here. Um, One of those things is that I'm very, very grumpy. Um, I'm very grumpy. I haven't had time to meditate, and I'm not doing any of the things that I normally do, so I'm out of my routine like a child. And being out of my routine like a child has made me kind of upset, I suppose. Um, I wouldn't want to be me. Hi, everybody. So, yeah, so it's showing me how much meditation makes a difference in my life. Whether I'm meditating to do a reading or meditating for myself, just to feel better. I haven't been doing it in the last week, so I feel like my blood pressure is up. I feel like my thoughts are jumbled. I feel like I'm disconnected from everybody around me, and not in that kind of like way where I just feel different than everybody. I'm just not in the mood to deal with anyone. So it's interesting that doing the meditations have been like kind of recentering me and making me feel better and keeps my blood pressure down. So it's interesting as I go along here, and I'm learning everything about what I'm doing, how everything affects me. And I thought I'd talk a little bit about the human soul. So clearly, my soul is affected by the way that I've been working recently, right? I've been doing no readings, no mediumship, no meditation. And what that means is I'm not at peace. I feel very unlike myself. Even right now, my ears hurt just talking about it. And I had also been not feeling well. And now, um, yeah, it's okay. No, it's just like, this is human stuff. This is normal life. It's things that everybody goes through. And it can make you feel a little bit off balance. So the point of me telling you that part about the meditation and myself is that I would say for all of you that don't regularly meditate, you should, because I think that it will help you feel much, much better. Um, it's difficult, I know, to find time to do it. And since my life has been out of my routine lately, I've also found it to be difficult to do. And that means that I've lost the flow here on TikTok, of course, and my social media, but I had more important, pressing things to do. And one of them was going to regular work, and then my family and my extended family. So this is my uncle who got sick. Um, how do you meditate? That's not a silly question. So basically what I do is I have a pair of headphones and I listen to something called binaural beats. You can find them on YouTube, or there's several apps that are very nice. And basically what they do is they help train your brain to relax and be quiet and help you decompress and get into your own thoughts so that you can connect with yourself and maybe the spirit world around you if that's something that you're interested in. Good morning. So isn't that fitting that I pull this card out as I'm thinking about all this? So this is the looming issue in our family right now, is that somebody is getting close to passing away and their life is a mess. Um, it shouldn't have been. They kept it together, but I think that there were some undiagnosed mental health issues with this family member, and I think that they should have reached out for some help. And I'll tell you a bit of the tragic story of what happened as to what led this person to this. So if you walked into my family member's home who's sick, you would notice that there's beautiful trim, there's beautiful woodwork, there's everything is meticulous and beautiful. And then something happened in his life where he would drive a truck for a living. That was his normal occupation, just driving a truck like so many Americans. And many years ago, probably like 15 years ago or so, a young man was texting and driving and came over the lines on the roadway and smashed into my family member's truck, and the young man was killed instantly. So the young man wasn't paying attention. He was texting and driving, came over the lines, and then had this motor vehicle accident where he did not make it out. And my uncle, I know, felt terrible about that from that moment on, because how could you not, right? Even though he had no fault in it, zero. He was just driving, doing his thing. And, we think at that point is probably when he started having some self-love issues and being able to complete tasks and became depressed, but he wasn't outwardly saying anything about it. He was talking to us like normal, like nothing's wrong, but from what we found out is when we went into his home when he got sick, is that he had been seriously overeating very terrible food for him. You can put any fast food label you want on it. It was all terrible. It's just one of those things where like he was not taking care of himself, and it was very evident by the way he was living. And I would say to anybody out there who might be listening to this right now, you hear me talk about this all the time. Mental health is super important. You can't get into the spiritual stuff. You can't get into a healthy lifestyle without your mental health. It all starts up here. So if you're having depression or sadness, reach out to somebody, even if it's a family member, even if you feel embarrassed to talk about it. You have somebody like me in your family, most likely, or in your friend group that will totally understand you and not judge you. Reach out to them and ask for help, because if my uncle had come to me 15 years ago and was like, hey, I'm having a lot of issues and I would really love somebody that could talk with me about it and maybe help get me some help, that'd be me. That's what I would want to do. I'd want to be that person to help him. Even if he was embarrassed by what was happening, it's better to be embarrassed than to beat yourself up to the point where you've given yourself not only a mental illness, but a physical one as well, that now is irreversible. So from all the terrible food and life choices that he made in the last 15 years, he got grossly overweight and he had a severe stroke. And the doctor basically said it's the kind that's life-altering, life-changing, and life-ending. So if you're watching this and you feel like that, that you are so sad and down that you can't talk to anybody, I promise you can. I promise you have somebody out there that you can talk to. And it's interesting because I labeled this as talking about the human soul, and the human soul needs nourishment in so many different ways. We need to be told we're doing a good job. We need to know that even if we do something we perceive as bad or really bad, it's probably not that bad. There are some things, obviously, that are pretty bad, but there are things out there that we perceive as bad. And it's just like, you know what? We can get over this. We can overcome this. We can talk about it and we can fix it. And it's just one of those things that I believe that's still being neglected. Even though there are people every day on TV I watch on like Good Morning America and these things, people talk about mental health, and it's super important. So the human soul thrives. So I see Gina says the wait list to talk to somebody is insane. Find a trusted family member or friend, even if they don't necessarily have the tools in their toolbox to give you guidance. Unload a little bit. Ask them if it's okay to unload. They may be able to help you at least listen. Like a good listener, an active listener is very good to have. So if you have somebody that can just say like, I feel shitty. I feel shitty for this reason. And I could really, really use just somebody to listen to me and let me know that I'm okay. And these are normal feelings and emotions, because we do. I do readings. I'm not doing them right at this moment though. So that's that, right? So we want to be put people into a positive mental attitude. It's sort of how I feel about this. Everything can start over again. You can be fresh and refreshed, and you can feel better. So that's something that we want to talk about. Thanks, Bella. For anybody who didn't know, I was on a TV show over the weekend called A Haunting, season 11, episode 8. It was called The Devil's Dolls. And it's a experience that I had helping a paranormal team that had inherited some very nasty, possessed dolls. Cat's out of the bag now. The episode's out there. So if you want to watch on Discovery Plus, please do. Or it might be on demand as well on Travel Channel. So while I made this video Friday or Saturday, and I was saying like it feels so good to start to really be acknowledged for my accomplishments and the things that I bring into the paranormal field and the mediumship world as well. Because I think before folks like me, who are super down to earth and grounded, you might had been just like watching folks that were the Long Island medium, who are super flamboyant, or they didn't match who you were or your walk of life. And I sort of feel like I fill that kind of role. out here because I'm just like you. I have bills to pay. I got a family. I have a family. Again, right now we're dealing with a family crisis, like so many of you. Um, you know, we're dealing with it, and we have to deal with it together. And I think that this is a good place and a good platform to talk about those things. So I know everybody likes getting the readings and stuff, but you got to be in that good mental space to get it, to get there. Um, just for the light says, I decided to be better a few days ago. Eat better and feel better. Yeah, 100%. What you put into your body definitely reflects on the way out. So I am an emotional eater, an overeater, unfortunately. And some of that is linked to my ADHD because I will forget to eat for a little bit and then I'll overeat. So like I just did it. Like I've been so busy, I forgot that I should be eating properly. And today it's like my catch up day on my calories, even though I don't really need them, but it's what I've been doing and trying to replenish that dopamine. So it's been very interesting. Hey, Tennessee, how are you? So yeah. Also, for anybody who's having any trouble out there carrying the burden every day, don't forget that you don't have to carry it all at the same time. So put down some of the things that are not important to you and deal with the things that really are. So if there are things that can stay on the back burner, put them there. It doesn't all have to get done today. This is a really important lesson, and the Seven of Swords certainly is the card for that. So for anybody out there who is having a lot of issues and carrying the weight with them, so to speak, since we're talking a little bit about food, put down some of the issues that you can put down and just deal with the major ones that are in front of you that you can dispatch. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes we just need to get rid of the easy problems. Like some of my easy problems are cleaning up my couch back here that has become a little collection spot for some of my stuff. I come home, I throw the stuff on the couch, but it needs to get cleaned up. And it's something easy that I could take care of for myself that would make me feel better. Hey, Colorado, how would you like that? Yeah, you can put some of the stuff on the back burner, believe me. And when you do, the people around you, your family, will actually feel better. Sometimes they say less is more, and that's probably a really good lesson for all of us to think about. Hey, Texas. So, less is more. Let's talk about that in the world of mental health and spiritual, even, because they affect each other, and how our family feels about it. So, if I did less, my wife would feel better because then she would get more time with me. And she tells me all the time, this isn't everything. And I also have a full-time job and I have the kids and all that stuff, right? So I'm always trying to manage to do more. But the family to your left and your right, or your friend group that you hang out with all the time, the people you consider family, less is more. And also letting people know how you feel, even if it's sort of a negative sort of feeling, let them know. Don't berate anybody or go ham on them, as they say. Just let them know your feelings so that they can understand where you're coming from. Men especially, speaking as a man, we have a hard time communicating our feelings, and it's tough for us to say the things that are on our minds, and we internalize a lot. And it's not on purpose, and I don't think it's a conditioning. It's just sort of how we are. I don't always say everything that's bothering me, but sometimes my wife will nitpick me about things, like I didn't pick up the laundry, or I didn't do like something simple that she thinks is simple. And all of a sudden I'm yelling at her about like something she had no idea I was even upset about, because I should have been saying it from the beginning. And even just talking to you folks like this is very therapeutic. So Just for Light says that she's cleaning out decades of collected stuff from the house and garage. Right. So when I tell you that some people have odd addictions or things that they collect, that's a sign of like mental health if it gets to be out of hand, right? So my uncle, do you all remember Sirius satellite radio when it first came out? You had to buy like a special radio. It was a box like this big. It was a special receiver just for satellite radio. It wasn't built into cars, and you had to buy this receiver. So my uncle got really into these things, and when we were just cleaning out his house, I must have found 40 of these receivers. Why anybody would need 40 XM receivers is beyond me. But he had a ton of them. Open, unopened, accessories for them, all kinds of stuff. And I feel like there must be something in his mind that was triggering him to just want this. What it is, I don't know, and I don't know if I'll ever know. But it's one of those interesting things that, like, why, right? Several laptops and computers, which were all very new and nice. They were not weird or corrupted or anything, so it's so strange. Hey, Crown Point Jail, it's your birthday. I got your email, by the way. I will be responding to you. I apologize I didn't. I just got really busy. So it's important too, if you are the kind of person, so I like here on social media, everybody's like, oh, I'm such an empath, X, Y, and Z, right? And they get that reason. I have news for you folks. Everybody's an empath. We are all supposed to be linked together in a spiritual and mental sort of way. Our souls speak the same language. No matter where we're from, our soul speaks the same language. We only become hardened and jaded by our experiences in life, and then our perspective changes because we're led in a different direction than other folks that we maybe even grew up next to, right? Um, so we all have this ability, and we should all be linked. Like if you can imagine Wi-Fi and the other side being the source of the Wi-Fi, we're all linked to it in some kind of way. But some people turn that down, or they get further away from the source, and they become so involved here in the world that they forget that there's more to life than just what's in front of them and the material things that they can own. And I'm not here to be preachy about that stuff, because let me tell you something, if somebody gave me $1 bajillion tomorrow, I wouldn't say no, because I also like to have things, but my things would be different than the things that you would like. And I probably, even as I'm getting older, I think more and more about, like, if I had a lot of money, like not rich, but wealth, like real wealth, what would I do with it? And I saw an interesting fact here on TikTok that, during the Super Bowl, they make $14 billion or something like that. And that's enough money to wipe out world hunger. So if I had that kind of wealth, I would probably want to do that, because that's more important than whatever I could buy. I'm not saying that I wouldn't buy myself a nice car that I'd like first, maybe, but that's just that, right? You take care of your family and then you help. And I'm not like some philanthropist. I'm not. I just think like that now. I'm getting older, and I see that there's a lot of stuff in the world that needs fixing. I mean, clearly we have what's going on over there in Ukraine and Russia, which is absolutely awful. So if you're tuning in here, my name is Scott, and I also talk about this a lot, as I'm a former Marine, combat veteran, and I've been to war. I've seen what it is. It's terrible, and the things that are happening over there in the world are so terrible. And I've been thinking about these folks clearly for like the last week and a half, 2 weeks since I've been talking about this. And then I wake up this morning, and the first thing I see is that Russia is on their bullshit. So my prayers for all those folks in that part of the world. And I hope that something peaceful can come out of this, and it's not a bloodshed sort of thing. I don't like to get political or do any of that stuff, but being somebody who's been to war and seen firsthand what it does to countries, it's terrible. And I just hope that if the U.S. can intervene, it's in a very positive and happy way, where we can bring first aid to these folks, get them out, and get them Russia to stop, because that's clearly what needs to happen. Yeah, a lot of time. So I see this comment right here, and I'm going to tell you, we're not doing any political talk. I'm not going to talk about where the hell I sit with on my political views, because it doesn't matter. I'm going to die someday, and shit, nobody's going to care anyway, so it doesn't matter now. What matters is that I'm nice to you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you're nice to me back, right? So that's all that damn matters, folks. I'd say it every time. Our mission in life here is to be nice to each other. And that's, I'm going to answer this. DM Sassy64 says, as humans, we're horrible to each other. But you know what? As humans, we're really great to each other also. It's just easier to see the negative shit that we put each other through. But there are millions and millions of acts of kindness done that are never seen by anybody and nobody talks about. But what they will put out there in the world on social media and in other places is the negative things that are going on. Yeah, there's a lot of negative things. There's a lot of amazing people out there doing things that we don't even know about. And if you're one of those people that are making things like that happen for other folks, God bless you and thank you. I appreciate you. Because I'll tell you one, just as an aside, right? So I told you I'm a veteran, right? When I got out of the service, I really had no money left. I was pretty poor. I had just come out of a divorce and all this stuff, and I had nothing. So I had to move back with my parents, and I had this truck that I needed to get an oil change in. It was well over, like, twice, 3 times the mileage probably of what it needed for an oil change. And I was just trying to get my life back together at that point. And there's a local oil change guy, and he had a flyer up that said free oil changes for veterans. So I went in kind of like with my pride like swallowed, because I really needed the oil change in the car because it was getting to the point where the engine was like making clicking noises, which if you know anything about mechanics, that's not good. So they changed the oil for free, and it was probably like a $50 oil change because how big the truck was at the one that I had at the time. And so they changed it, and I remember later on, so if you don't know, I'm in law enforcement as well. Later on, I had made contact with this gentleman who owned the oil change place, and he had a really nice car, and he may have been going a little fast, but I stopped him, and I talked to him, and I said, sir, you're going a little fast, and I recognize your name, and once upon a time, whether you know it or not, you gave me a free oil change. I'm getting a little teary, and I really appreciate that, so today I'm going to pay it back to you. And I'm just going to tell you that I'd just like for you to slow it down. And I said, I need you to be here for tomorrow for the next veteran or the next person that needs your kindness. And that was it. And he said thank you and shook my hand, and that was it. So the kindness that you put out could come back to you, and you never know when it's going to come back to you or how. So even if you're not looking for a handout or looking for something nice from somebody else, just do the right thing, even when nobody's looking, and whatever you can do. It doesn't have to be grand gestures. It could be something so simple, and it could come back nicely in another way, right? So yeah, it's a nice story, right? And that's he may not even remember that, but I'll always remember it because I was so down on my luck. I was so down. I had nothing. And that's something I needed in order for my life to go. And I was able to use that truck until I ran it into the ground, basically. But here I am 12 years later. I still remember that story. I have my life together. I'm able to afford a new truck. Thank God. And I'm here to able to sit with you and have a nice conversation and tell you these really nice stories. So even though sometimes we're pretty bad to each other, we're also very good to each other. And don't forget that. Say hi to your neighbor, I definitely think that's something to do, right? Yeah. So the world is everything that you want it to be. It's right there within your grasp. So make sure that when you're out interacting with the world, don't look at somebody with just your point of view. Take your blinders off. Ask yourself where that person's coming from. How's their day? What are they up to? And how can you maybe make it better? Sometimes just not interfering and putting your 2 cents in is the right thing, which I find myself doing pretty often. So, how's everybody doing today? How's our human soul doing today? I have not really gotten this deep here. I usually just come on and do readings, but I really just thought that this today would be a really great day for us just to have this kind of conversation and talk about these sorts of things. So, have you been talking to your friends and family? How are they? Have you been calling them or texting them? Or are you fighting with them on the other place, the Facebook, and getting all political with them? Because now is when those things are going to happen, and maybe you just don't. I certainly have family members that I do not agree with at all politically, but we back up away from those things because at the end of the day, when it's time for us to make that journey over, who's going to be waiting for you? Your family members, even your Uncle Joe, who's not your favorite right now because of his political point of view. He's going to be waiting for you, and so is the rest of the family. So keep that in mind. It's interesting. Honestly, my soul's experiencing imposter syndrome. Yeah, so sometimes I feel that same way. So basically, sometimes I'm having like a little bit of too deep of a thought, right? Too deep of a shower thought. And I will realize that the things that are around me are not true. They're not real. They're not the things that really matter, which is sort of what I'm talking about. Like my soul recognizes that this body is just here for this short time and it's going to go home someday. Someday, all of us who are sitting here right now, our soul's going to leave this body. We're going to go over to the other side, and none of this is going to exist for us. We'll still be able to interact with the people here. We'll be able to say hello. We'll be able to see what they're doing. But none of this all matters. And sometimes I have that thought, and it's like an existential like dread and crisis all at once. Because if what I'm doing right now doesn't matter, then why am I here? But then I remember that I'm here to have this experience and talk to all of you and do my best to help people with what I can do and help you get stronger and you help me get stronger. So, just keep those things in mind. And anybody going through a dark night, as they call, like you're not feeling it right now, it's down. It's okay. It's okay for that right now. Just remember that every step you take forward and away from that is a better step to the light, a better step to a new you. Whatever the light is for you, it's not a religious thing, it's not a spiritual thing, it's just a human thing. Like if you woke up tomorrow and today and you felt like shit and you want to feel better tomorrow, just think about it. Like, what can I do tomorrow that I didn't do today that'll help me feel better? Maybe when I wake up, I should have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and maybe that'll start my day off in the right direction. Or I'll go outside and go for a walk, or I'll go. I won't turn on the news. For some of us, that's probably a big one, right? Um, I'm a human moon card. Well, you'll get better. That's okay because look, you have all the teardrops and stuff and the raindrops. So you're a deep emotional feeler. You think a lot, and you have a wolf pack. You have people that are looking for your guidance. So that's great. Spring is coming. I feel my power level amping up. Me too. Mine's usually over 9,000. And if you get that joke, you should definitely follow me. So how's everybody else doing? Good? If you like a little bit of a reading, I have my cards available. So if you like something, just let me know. I'm going to do a couple. If you like what you're seeing, if you like what I have to say, if you like my message, if you like me, do me a favor and hit the share button and give me a follow. I totally appreciate you. By the way, I woke up this morning and we had 147,000 followers here at Scotty the Medium, which I totally appreciate. If you're new here on TikTok and you're just coming over for one of the other apps, it's nice to see you. This is a super safe place here on my platform if you need a place to talk about your own spiritual stuff or get guidance. If you need somebody just to say hello to, or maybe every once in a while you get a laugh, give me a follow. I like that kind of stuff. I try to keep it as real as possible here. I'm super grounded and down to earth. I always tell people you're not going to see me wearing crystals on my head or dancing around naked in the moonlight. Nobody'd want to see that anyway. Hey, what's up, all C and Kiki? How are you? Thanks, small town girl. I appreciate you. DM Sassy, your dad passed 8 years ago. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'll tell you that he's looking over you and all of your endeavors. I'm sure that he misses you just as much as he misses, as you miss him. And that, you should just take a little bit of time out of your day to maybe take a photograph out of him and look at him and tell him you say hello. And I'm sure that he will say hello back. I'm sure of it. Okay. Hey, what's up, Arkansas? How are you? Nice to see you there. I'm just here for what you have to say. Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate it. I have to say that you should be kind to the people around you and your family, and everybody will benefit from that. That's what I have to say. It's the general message. My daughter has run away. Oh my goodness. I have a daughter that did that once. I'll say I hope that she comes home soon. And I don't think that she's somewhere entirely unsafe. I'd say that she's with a peer group, and that although the circumstances are not what you would want, I think that she's okay. And I do feel that. Like, I'm not just saying that. Everybody who knows me knows that I don't talk out of line or say crazy stuff that I don't believe. But I would say an intention for a happy and safe return home. Okay? Sometimes kids do that. How old is she? Am I going to hold another class soon? Yep, very soon. 16. Yep, mine was 17 when she took off. But she came back home and we fixed our differences, and now she's a good functioning human person. So my prayers for you and your family that she comes back home safe. Snoops247, I have no idea what your dad's last thought was before he passed away. I wouldn't even fathom a guess. I'm in a weird place in general, like with love and money. Not even bad, just hazy and weird. So sometimes we need to get out of our comfort zone and put away our old beliefs and start looking at some new things for us. So if your money and your love are kind of funny, just put them on the back burner. Think about yourself, have an adventure, and see who you are when you come back from that adventure. It's all about getting up off of the things that we're trying to hold down so much, our values and our whatever that might be for you, and go have an adventure. Adventures are great for us. I'm sorry that your husband lost his job and you're full of anxiety. How much are my classes? My classes are $40. They're 2 hours. held via Zoom, and they're always limited to about 20 people. And I usually do them once a month or so. So keep an eye open here on my TikTok. You'll see them. I'm so sorry that your husband lost his job. I can see that that's a tremendous weight on you. Just know that I think that he will get reemployed very soon. And I feel like I hear like he keeps coming back for more. So perhaps the kind of employment he keeps looking for is very unstable, and it might be time for him to see if he can change what he does a little bit in order to have more steady employment. I hope that makes sense for you. Missy says, how do you figure out what your gift was? Have you always had it? And I'm trying to figure out mine. So yeah, I've always had mediumship on my side. Ever since I was a little guy, I would talk to ghosts and stuff. Then it wasn't until I got older and I gave a vocabulary to everything I do. So mediumship, some psychic abilities, tarot reader by chance, and then Akashic record reading is another thing that I do. And some other stuff like psychometrist, which is really interesting. That's just the ability to hold an object, right, and get a reading from it. So I think everybody has a different talent, and you need to explore yourself a little bit and see which way you're pulled to understand what's best for you. You're welcome. Oh, how can you help your daughter going through going through a divorce? Just be there to listen. Pretty much, I would say agree with whatever she says, and that will help her be calm amidst the storm that's raging inside. And just like I said in the beginning of this, starting with this, her soul just needs to hear that she's going to be okay. And even after her husband and her are completely done, that she will move on and she will have a great new life. So being somebody who's once divorced, I can say that. I literally hit rock bottom. And the next woman that I met in my life, I said to her, I said, listen, I don't want a serious relationship. I just got out of a divorce. I don't want any kind of relationship. And then we're married now. We have 2 kids and a house and all that stuff. So just let her know that it's okay. It may not be the next person she meets, but, you got to just be positive and go out there and say exactly what's on your mind. That's what I did. I wasn't trying to... Oh, okay. So anybody else who's having a divorce, just keep that in mind. Your daughter's 7 and you're going through a divorce. So for you, I'll tell you that you can take my advice. And for a 7-year-old, boy, just validate her. I have a 8-year-old son and a 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old. And the biggest thing that we can do as adults is just to validate their feelings. So when I was little, if somebody had validated me more about my abilities and my gifts, I probably would be a little bit further along in my development, right? But what I'd say is for kids going through those sorts of things, I've never been through a divorce as a kid, so I don't know. But I'd say just validate, just listen, ask her what her fears are and validate them for her. Like, yeah, like the world is not always as safe as we want it to be. You don't have to be completely upfront about how terrible it can be or what's going on, but just let her know, like, hey, things can be bumpy, but I'm always going to be here and be your mom and I love you, right? New widow. Will I have anyone new in the future? You will, but first, work on yourself a little bit. Get rid of the grief that's built up inside of you, and just remember that nobody is ever going to probably live up to the person you were married to. That's something I talk to about widows and what are men, widowers? I talk to them about that a lot as well. Comparing somebody new to somebody who's passed is impossible. Because as my mom says, once somebody passes, they become a saint with all their flaws and all of the other things that you didn't like about them when they were alive. As soon as they're passed, they're a saint, right? It's impossible to compare somebody living to somebody who's passed. You're welcome. Yeah, sorry, small town girl. I try to do my best. Yeah, he was a wonderful, selfless man. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure he was, and nobody's going to live up to him. So just remember that the next person has their shortcomings. If you're looking for a romantic relationship with them, you're going to have to deal with their shortcomings, and they're not the same person as the person who died. Today was the final straw, and I asked my husband to move out. Not sure if it's the right thing to do. It sounds like it was. Anytime that you get to the end of your wits or the end of your rope and you ask somebody to leave, it's good because you're looking for your space and you're looking for your peace, and they also need peace as well. Again, in my regular job, I deal with that kind of fairly often. So I know that there are circumstances where both parties need to be separated and it's better for everybody. Even though there's like a love or whatever you used to have, sometimes it's no good anymore, and it butts, and you become enemies instead of people who are in love, and that's bad for the soul as well. It can make a very bright shining soul into something dark and twisted that it shouldn't be. So that's what you need to do. All seeing Kiki, what I need to know today, that everything is going to be okay. Your adventure forward is going well in life. There will be some financial gain for you shortly in the future, for whatever endeavor you've been working on. But to keep working on it, because you're not quite there. So that's for today. And it could be for a little while, for a lifetime. Karma Heart 77. Sure. Karma Heart 77. Everything in moderation. So this is sort of how I started the reading as well. Anything that you're doing to make yourself feel wonderful or terrible, put them in balance. Think about which one is more important to you today, and just go with that. You're welcome, Kiki. Thank you so much. So, it's funny. Temperance is a really funny card. They use the word temperance in AA a lot, and I always think about it as nothing is good out of moderation. So we always want to keep everything in a straight line, and it's okay to feel bad sometimes. That's like, I talk about feeling good and mental health, but feeling bad also lets you know that you're still in touch with your feelings and that you're still a human being. People who are flying high all the time, you might have a problem too. Maybe you got overinflated ego, or you're bipolar and you're about to crash. Just think about those things, okay? Can you help with unlocking psychic gifts? I don't know if I have one, but I'm curious. That's stuff that I talk about in my classes. I think everybody has a psychic gift to a point. Just one of those things where you have to explore it for yourself. Read some books. I would start with Kim Russo's Happy Medium. It's a great book, and it puts everything in a very plain way of speaking for you to understand if you perhaps might have some of these gifts. Bunny Hair says, I feel guilty spending time with myself. Oh, don't. Absolutely don't. You're worth spending time on. It's an interesting story in life, is that we're born alone and we die alone. And that doesn't mean that we are born unsurrounded by people or die unsurrounded by people. This soul makes a journey here when we're born, and we come out, and hopefully we're loved and nurtured through our life. But when it's time to go, it's not like when you're getting on the roller coaster at Great Adventure and you're like, oh, I'm so scared. Can you get in with me? And somebody takes your hand and goes in with you on the roller coaster because it's so scary. And they're your support system, right? You die alone means your soul's going to exit its body and head off to the other side. And you're going to be afraid then. So your time here, if you feel guilty feeling alone, being alone with yourself, don't. You are the most important thing to you, and nobody else around you can be nurtured or feel happy or strong or like you're there with them unless you feel that way. So that's why all these folks who talk about self-love are hitting it right on the nose. Sometimes they deliver it in a little bit of a way that might feel I don't know, maybe like it doesn't hit with us because we're not wearing yoga pants and, doing upward dog, or, we're not wearing beaded necklaces and have long hair and ponytails. I don't know. These are the people who aesthetically I see talking about these things. You don't normally see a guy in a flannel shirt with a Ghostbuster poster talking about these sort of things, because guys and gals like me don't talk about these things too often. But I feel like I want to give you that voice, and I want to give you that sort of advice in a different package, perhaps. Is there anything I can do to make my family situation better? Listen to all parties involved. Give advice when it's asked, and don't speak when it's not asked, because I feel like you have a lot of strength in your voice, meaning that what you say people care about. So if nobody is asking for advice, don't give it to them, because they may be trying to make decisions without you and doubt themselves when you give it to them, because you are very powerful and they are listening to you. Okay, so listen and give advice when they ask, and just be quiet when they don't ask, even though you probably do know better. Hey, what's up, Jeffro? How are you? Semper Fidelis. Just here for the light. Yeah, you're right. but I am a different sort of person when it comes to that. Can you pull a card for my son? He's epileptic and anxious, going through a very hard time. Well, let's set an intention for him, or prayer if you like, that the epilepsy will subside and we'll see it going away in the distance. Let's also say that any kind of anxiety that he has can be subdued, and that he is receiving some positive help from his loved ones on the other side. Epilepsy is something also that has been through my family, and as a matter of fact, my godmother passed due to she had a grand mal episode and had a heart attack because of it, and she passed. And that's not what's going to happen to your son. I'm just saying that I understand where you're coming from, and I know it's very nerve-wracking, especially with children. Again, with my regular job, I see these sorts of things, and I remember the first time I ever saw I think it was probably a 7-year-old boy having a epileptic seizure episode. I was afraid, and I don't get afraid of things, but I didn't understand what was happening. But I've studied it and I've looked at it. No doctor, but I hope that he has some peace and some love and some distance from the anxiety. I know it's tough, and as a parent, it's tough to watch your child go through that. See, just for the light, she says both of her daughters have epilepsy, and she's sending you some love as well. Elizabeth, sure, you'd like a card? With every new adventure sometimes comes some trouble along with it. So for every new endeavor that you're taking on, just remember that it can be a little bit bumpy to start, and especially when you're just starting something you've never done before. So if you're doing new things or you're contemplating doing new things, just remember that it's not always going to be easy, and whatever you're doing right now might seem easy, but if you start a new thing, it's going to get a little bit more difficult for you. I hope that helps you. Michelle says, can I have advice on how to move forward on my spiritual path? Yeah, actually, I'm going to show you a card. It's a little scary, but don't be scared. It's good advice. So when we see this, at least when I see it, I call it my decisions are looming on me card, and I don't know what to do. So either decide to do it or decide not to do it. But the indecision of not moving forward is probably eating you up inside. So either step into the light and start using your gifts and developing them, or step fully out of the light and move on as a regular everyday human being that's just having a human experience. But if you live in both worlds simultaneously, it's going to beat you up. And I'd say don't worry about what other people are going to think as you start to tell them that you're doing this. Oftentimes people get very afraid when you start telling them that you're going to start doing spiritual sort of things and self-improvement. Because they're worried that they're not going to be able to match you or stick with you, and that's okay. So one of the really interesting things that I never worried about some of the things when I started just saying I could do this. My friends were like, "Yeah, whatever, we don't care," and then we moved on with our lives. So I didn't lose any friends of it. I didn't lose any family because of it. So don't worry about those sorts of things. People are very open and accepting to these sorts of things. For my devil dog, can I get a card, please? Sure. Well, I can tell you that I can see you have a very big heart, and that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into so much. And from a former and fellow Marine, I could tell you that I think that we're pretty much all built that way. Just keep working towards your goals, and a lot of the things that you have been working on in your life are soon going to come together. And I don't know, are you trying to start your own like business or something based on like a hobby? And I feel like that's what I want to talk to you about. Like, you've been doing something for a long time, and you're going to start doing it for yourself to make some money off of it. Let me know if that's accurate, because if it is, I tell you to keep doing and do that. Okay. So we always try to take our time and tune in and understand where people are coming from in their life. Now, me and that gentleman don't know each other. However, we do have something in common. We went through some of the hardest basic training on the planet, and we both understand something about each other. We have determination, will, and grit to get through just about anything in the world. So anytime you see two Marines talking to each other, even if we've never met or we're 30 years different apart from each other, we all know each other somehow. We've all been to hell on earth and made it back. So, Jeff, I would tell you definitely, if you've been thinking about it, do it, buddy. You got it. No Face McGee, how are you? For you, start paying attention to your own spiritual gifts. It's time to start unlocking them. And I want to tell you that you in particular should be paying attention to something called your chakras. It feels like they're a little bit dim, and if you got them tuned up or did it for yourself, I think that a world would open up to you that you're not quite aware is right there for you. That's for you, No Face. Hello, my body hurts. I'm sorry that your body hurts. So does mine. Um, my body always hurts 24 hours a day. So we're talking about souls and the soul journey a little bit, and one of the things that we were talking about while I'm doing readings for you is please, number one, throw me some likes if you like what I'm doing here, and secondly, a share and a follow would be much appreciated. As I'm doing this, we're talking about the soul, and you could see if you read the comments as we're hanging out here, or if you go to any reading, people always have the same kind of questions. Um, how's my life going? How's my life going to go? Are my kids going to be okay? These are things that we're put here to go through and understand, so that we can not only be better on the other side, but so you could be better right now. People ask me how I became, and I'm not putting my own ego out there. I'm just going to say, it's asked me, how do I become such a good medium? And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I've had so many life experiences, and there have been a lot of great ones, but there have been a lot of tumultuous ones that I didn't let keep me down. So, just going through an adoption when I was little, losing my mom, a rough childhood, being picked on because of my weight, ostracized from people for it, kind of being a little bit of an eccentric kid because I had ADHD and nobody knew. I was a big comic book nerd before it was cool. I liked nerdy TV shows before it was cool. I had strange fascinations with television and stuff that nobody could quite understand. And today, it's just normal stuff that everybody's into, and we all know it because of the internet, right? And then I had a child when I was 18 years old. Then I had went into the military, and I had that going on for me, a divorce, and then so on and so forth. So I've had so many different journeys through my life, and it's given me so much perspective on how to understand so many of you, and sympathize with you and empathize with you and put myself in your shoes is a little bit easier for me because of the life experiences I've had. I'm not somebody that has just been sitting around idle for 40 years doing nothing and hoping the world's going to get better around me. I'm always trying to do better and be better, and when things are thrown at me that seem insurmountable, I climb that damn mountain. And I think that every one of you needs to be able to do that as well. Eccentric. I have ADHD, but I'm called crazy, impulsive, or extreme. Yeah, me too. So that's part of what makes me, though, and I understand that. Oh, I'm so sorry, love you, boo. I'm sure that she's been watching over you ever since she passed. I'm sure that she's okay. Sending a lot of love to you. Machine Gun Urkel, I love that. That is awesome. How do you deal with negative spirits? Basically, I just tell them to bug off. Depends on why I'm there. So if I'm going to somebody's home and they think it's haunted and it's something negative, we deal with it either through my means of a basic cleansing, or I have people who are demonologists and all sorts of other witches and Reiki people and light language lady. I have all kinds of people. So if I can't deal with it, I have a entire arsenal of people who are very well equipped to be able to deal with taking care of negative things. Basically what I do, I like blanky blank 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 1999 says, can someone be haunted? Yeah, they're called mediums. So basically when people ask me if they're haunted, it's funny, I say this every live stream, I think. I would move from home to home a lot as I was growing up, and my mom said, every house that you move into can't be haunted, maybe it's just you. And boy, was she right. You're very welcome there, Machine Gun Urkel. I like your name. I got my name. How do you know if you have any gifts, psychic, medium, the clairs, etc.? So what I'd say is to get a book. The book I always recommend is The Happy Medium by Kim Russo, who's a medium. She lays it out in very plain text in her book about mediumship and psychic abilities. And if you can read that book and you start noticing, like, I do that, I do that, I do that, then you're lining up with all of those things. So when I started doing this, I tell everybody that I didn't start doing this and be like, oh, I'm a medium. I started doing this and being like, I'm going to disprove the fact that I can speak to people on the other side, because I didn't like the idea that this was just something that could happen, right? I didn't try it. I didn't get a book and be like, I'm going to settle down and do this. No, I had a spontaneous experience that was so undeniable, with validation and evidence proving that it was true, that I was shook, and I said, I'm going to prove this isn't real. And I kept trying to prove it wasn't real and recreating it. And actually what happened was it kept getting better and stronger as I was doing it. And it sort of led me into this path of reading books, going online, trying to learn as much as I could. And then that led me to kind of all these other things that I'm doing now. And it's all been for the positive and better. And it's really shown me a place in the world that I fit better than I've ever fit in my entire life. So Nadine wants to know about my experience. Sure. So this is a TikTok series that I had going, but I'll tell you about it. It's very quick, really. About 10 years ago, I was taking a shower, and I had this thought come into my head, and it didn't sound like my voice. So my thought that came in my dialogue was changed, and it was like an older gentleman's voice, and he said, "Hi, my name is Pop." So I would never say hello to myself. I already know I'm up there. So this gentleman says, "Hi, I'm Pop. Can you please take a message?" And I was like, what the hell is happening to me? Now, this wasn't like some sort of booming voice coming from outside. This was a thought. So I was like, what is happening here? This isn't my thought. So I was taking my shower, and I'm like, what? And as I have my eyes closed, I start seeing images come through, like that part of my brain that handles imagination. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I hear the voice as I'm watching these little video clips and photographs pass through my mind that I've never seen. It says, "Hi, I'm Vicky. I'm Vicky's dad. Please tell her I'm okay. Talk about a woman named Anna in a pink dress with white pearls. She'll have brown short hair and be standing next to a man in a tuxedo in a photograph." And he showed me the picture. And then talked to me about a blue classic sports car and a wedding event. So with that information, I got out of the shower. I wrote these things down, and I knew who Vicky was. It was my mom's friend. So I called my mom and I said, would she be interested in hearing about this, possibly her dad? And my mom was like, oh, absolutely. She'd definitely be interested in that. So I got in touch with Vicky, and she invited me over. I went to her home, and I brought a little blue notebook that I wrote everything down in. And I said, okay, you call your dad Pop? She said, yep. It's all right. I said, I saw a blue classic sports car, and there was like people dressed like a wedding. And she said, well, that's interesting, because last weekend I went to a wedding, and the bridal party rented out a blue Chevy Nova, like a 1970s Chevy Nova, and they were taking pictures with it. So that's what he was showing me. Then I said, okay, who's Anna? And she was like, that's my grandma. I said, okay. I was like, you have any knowledge of like a photograph of her wearing a pink dress with white pearls and her hair's chopped right here, brown, standing next to a man in a tuxedo? And she said, you know what? Let me call my mom, who would be Pop's wife, who had passed. And she came up from her apartment right underneath Vicky, which is funny. She came up and she brought up a wedding album that was really old, opened it up, and there's a picture of Anna in her pink dress with her pearls and her brown hair. And she was standing next to a man in a tuxedo who happened to be her son, Pop. I don't even actually know what his real name was, because he called himself Pop. And that's the evidentiary part. So he told me about the wedding prior, because he was talking about being there for the wedding himself, in spirit. Then he told me about something I could have no knowledge of, a wedding album that hadn't been opened up in probably 50 years. And then from there, I kept trying to disprove my ability to do this, but it only got stronger and better. And here we are today. So that is the story of how I got started. So when I tell you that I'm not somebody who set out to do this, that's the truth. I just sort of realized that I could do it, and I could do it really well. So I just decided to stick with it. Hi there, Rosa. How are you? I was told that my mom was in transition or not fully crossed. What does that mean? So sometimes when I look for spirit, they're not all the way over. Sometimes they have some things that they're working on for themselves, some things that they were dealing with. So if your mom had any addiction issues or mental health issues, or if she passed a little too soon, she might still be dealing with the trauma of some of those things from her life, and she just has a little bit of work to do on the other side. It doesn't mean that she's not in heaven. It just means that she's sort of like still like in the classroom figuring out what she has to do to take that next step. And that was something else that I wanted to talk to people about today too. So thank you for that amazing question. I hope that helps. Your mom's totally okay, by the way. I'm so sure of it. People ask me a lot, and I see there's only 66 people here, but maybe one of you this will help. People ask me about folks who commit suicide, and it's a very touchy subject. So I'll be careful, and I'll just tell you this: is that I've dealt with folks who have passed on their own accord. Because they wanted to, and they are in heaven. They're in another place that is the same as everyone else. Sometimes when they cross, they do have to deal with the decision and have to understand that they're okay and there's no judgment for it, and that they're going to be okay. It's really important for you folks to know that, like, because there's some religions that teach otherwise, and I'm not one to step on anybody's religion. If that's what you believe, that's what you believe. That's totally cool with me. What I'm going to tell you is that I've spoke to people who have committed suicide on the other side, and they are okay. They're in the light, they're loved, they're embraced, and they're with their loved ones as well. So that's just sort of something that I thought would be important to address quickly. Okay. And again, if other people feel another way, that's totally fine. All of our opinions are okay to have, and it is what it is. So, I'm sorry, I can't say your name. Our KC4910 says, I can see white and dark figures and occasionally hear spirits, but in past tense. So perhaps you're doing a little psychic time traveling, is something I like to call that. If you can tune into a space and see those sorts of things, if you were to meditate a little bit more often, you would probably be able to put yourself in a position to walk into any space and see those shadows of things that have happened, or possibly things that could be happening in the future. And that's a little bit of psychic time travel. You're welcome, D. Rowantia. I appreciate you. I'm sorry if I messed up your name. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate it. I always tell everybody that I don't ask for any gifts. If you do send one, once I hit, I think I'm almost at $100 in gifts. I'll be taking that $100 and donating it over to now I'm having a brain fart because my brain is farting. Help me out here. The kids' hospital that I have on my front page there. I am a big sucker for children, especially sick kids. I think every kid deserves a chance at life like I had. So I always try to pay it forward when I can. So anything that you guys sent to me as a gift, St. Jude, thank you so much. I don't know why I had such a brain fart. Anything that comes to me in the way of a tip, anytime it hits $100, I make the donation over to St. Jude. So none of that goes to me. I think that's important too. Yes, St. Jude's. Thank you. Hey, what's up, UK? I work at a children's hospital. That's so sweet. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I have a particular case reading that I had done, and I'd always had a soft spot for kids, but I did one for a mom who lost her daughter to childhood cancer. Her name was Liv, and she has a foundation called Live Like a Unicorn. And it's a beautiful foundation here in New Jersey. They do amazing things, and they always try to donate to them as well. And they're always doing amazing fundraisers and awesome stuff here in New Jersey. So after I spoke to this little child on the other side, and she was as articulate as any adult I'd ever spoken to, as far as the spirit goes, I knew that there was going to be more for me in my future in doing that. So with that being said, if anybody has... here sorry, I can't help you out in the UK. Maybe someday if I get there. If you have anything like that here in the United States and you'd like to bring to my attention, please do. You can always send me an email, scottynjmedium@gmail.com, and just let me know. And I'd love to help you out if I can. Okay? My daughter saw shadows at a retreat she went to. Oh, that's awesome. She's probably seen some ghosts that were hanging out. That's what I used to do. Sure, Annie girl. Let's see what we got going on here. Make sure that you talk to your friends and family about anything that's on your mind, Annie. And just know that you have people that you can turn to and talk to if you need help, okay? I hope that helps you. Binks113 says, I have thoughts pop into my head. I doubt myself terribly. I was told it was my imagination. Sure, so when I had that crazy shower thing happen to me where another voice was in there telling me that they had a name and all this other stuff, of course I doubted myself. But what did I do? I wrote it down. I brought it right to the source. And if she was like, you're crazy, none of this makes sense, and my dad's alive upstairs, I would have went to the hospital immediately looking for help, because that would have been really bad. So luckily it was the other way around for me, and it was a true thing. And I've recreated it hundreds of thousands of times now. It can be a little bit scary. Is seeing fleeting shadows out of the peripheral potential spirits? It can be. And once you start meditating, you'll stop seeing them with your eyes and you'll start seeing them in your head. You'll be able to identify them, see who they are and what they want. Because our eyes are so unreliable. Even the things that we see day to day that we know. Like, think about how many times you've looked at a cloud and you're like, oh, that's a nice turtle. And somebody's like, it's not a turtle, it's a sports car. Right? So even the things that you see with your eyes are completely unreliable sometimes. So just keep that in mind. Okay? It happens to me in the shower a lot, right? So that's because you're in a meditative state. Normally you're washing, you're cleaning. Your mind isn't on everything else. You have nice warm water flowing over you. So water's a great conductor for spirit. As well. So that's the time when you're in that state where you're just kind of chill, and that's when they can talk to you. So that's a great place. I wouldn't recommend meditating in the shower though, because you can run up your water bill. That's not great. Amanda says, do my spirit guides have any messages from when my dad passed recently? I'm so sorry for your loss. So much has been going on. So know that you're doing a really great job in all of the things that you've been managing newly to your dad's passing. You're doing the right way, and just keep moving forward, but take it at a slower pace. You don't have to handle everything at once, okay? And everybody's happy to have you be handling all of the hard decisions that you've had to handle. And that's for you, my friend. Amanda. Jackie says, is my house haunted? I don't know. What's going on at your house? Tell me. I see wall sparkles occasionally, almost like a pinhole flash of light. They're random. So in my experience of doing this, anytime I see pinholes of light or sparkles, as you call them, we all perceive them a little bit differently. I've always felt that those were like portals to heaven. So I've always felt like those are places somebody has passed and somebody has passed nearby them. So I figured that out because I would go into people's homes and be like, oh, there's this white light in here. And somebody would be like, well, my grandma died in here, or dad died in here. And it happened so many times. I was like, that's got to be portals to the other side that just didn't close. So I think that's what those are. And that's my opinion. I could be completely wrong though, but I've never seen anything come out of them or go in them, but I've seen them, and it's always in a room or a place where somebody passed. So I hope that helps. When I'm in my living room, I feel like somebody's watching me from doorways. I see shadows. So if anybody is having issues like that, what I'd recommend is you can buy really inexpensive like pet cameras. They're like $20, $25 on Amazon. They're infrared, and you can set them up and put them there, because you never know what that camera will pick up that you won't, and it can help validate some of the things that you're experiencing. Yes, Pets do have spirits, 110%. I've seen them. They're very interesting, and they're always so cuddly. I recently heard a scientific study that biophotons are our spirit and soul. So I love that, because not only, I mean, you folks hear me talk about the spiritual stuff, but like I said, I like to stay grounded. So what I'd say is that I think that there is some science out there that we haven't figured out yet. And all the stuff in quantum mechanics and quantum physics, string theory, all that stuff can really, in the future, help us understand what we're actually experiencing on a spiritual level. So there's a reason why scientists get to a point and they're like, God particle. Like, they're not sure. So they're like, God particle. It's in everything, but we don't know what it is, and we can't explain it. So just, even though we have a belief in the spiritual world, just remember that what we call the spiritual world could just be the next dimension or the one after that. So it might just be us, our soul, our energy transporting to the next space. So either way, don't be afraid. It's all good over there. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear about your daughter. Your daughter, I will tell you, 110% visits you. I'm sorry for the big change that you had to go through and the balance that you had to put the rest of your family into after you went out of balance for her passing. Um, I will tell you that I know that she thinks you're doing a great job, and she says something about your TV remote always being missing. Let me know how you feel about that. I was told my mom was having a hard time communicating. Do you know what that might be? Sometimes when people are having a hard time communicating uh, on the other side, it's because they are um, being blocked by a bit of a grief wall. So just so you know, your Holly, your daughter is not having a hard time communicating. So your remote is missing right now. And she said, talk about my mom's missing remote. So I'll just let you know that's her way of validating and letting you know that she is with you, because she even knows that your remote is missing right now. So you can tell her that you love her and that you miss her, and she's going to hear you 110%. Okay. I'm so sorry for your loss, but I want you to know through that very simple and easy validation that she's doing okay. All right. Oh, look at that. See, folks? Now, look, for everybody who follows me, you know that I don't do readings on the spot like that, but her daughter came right through and rushed me. So I'll always let that through if I can. So, Holly, I hope that that helps you, and I hope that you find some love and peace in that. Daughter 10 is a little lost. Will she be okay? I don't know how to deal with it. So yeah, 10-year-old girls can be a little bit temperamental. They're a little bit out of my wheelhouse, even though I have a 21-year-old daughter and now an almost 5-year-old. I would say keep being a strong parent to them, but also give them validation and understand where they're coming from. So kids aren't always great because they don't have the vocabulary to articulate the things that they want to. So give them space, but still be a strong parent, and she'll come around. Like I said, mine did after a lot of headbutting, and she's out in the world doing really good things now. And she grew up with her mom, who it wasn't easy for her growing up with her mom because her mom was a bit of a what I'll call a gypsy, not a great person. Marley, a grief wall on my side or hers? It could be both. So for you, I would say I made this video that kind of went viral recently that about letting your guard down a little bit, and telling them that it's okay for them to visit you, and just know that when you give them that permission, you're telling them that you are ready to hear from them, and it will help her come through. So the more you talk to your loved ones on the other side, the closer they can come and the closer they'll be to you. Okay, that's really important. So how's everybody doing? My name's Scott. I'm a medium. I'm a psychic. I've been doing some readings here while I'm hanging out with you. Please do me a favor. Give me a like and give me a share and a follow if you don't mind. I really love all of those things. We had a really nice message that's come through. Yeah, I know, Marley. Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's tough. If that's not working, write a letter. Tell her. But I truly believe that people who have a tough time communicating from the other side, it's just because we're not completely ready to hear from them. So just know that. And sometimes there could just be a block on the psychic's part, on the medium's part. Sometimes I get blocked up too. And that's why I have to do a lot of salt scrubs and meditations and keep everything flowing well. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Good here in Minnesota. It's cold, but at least the sun is out for a little bit. Oh, thank goodness for you, right? What did I just hear? DRUNT 68. I'm going to say it like that. Thank you for your gift. No, it's going to go over to St. Jude's as soon as we hit that $100 mark. I will tell you that as I closed my eyes and I focused on you a little bit, I'm told to tell you to stop bending backwards for everybody and stop being such a people pleaser. And as a matter of fact, they're kind of showing me that you might have a physical backache from the spiritual and mental, um, like dance that you've been doing, trying to keep everybody happy. So just know that it's time for you to take some time for yourself and stop bending over backwards to make people happy. I hope that helps you. Oh, thanks for what were those, butterflies or doves or something? Thanks. Oh, I'm so glad that Tony called you. Nice, congratulations. Oh, I guess that made sense for you, Dr. You want Tia 68? Yep. Hola, how are you? I don't speak Spanish. I got a little bit down. ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien. ¿Y tú? ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? That's it. Oh, and toca la guitarra. Sorry if I messed all that up. I worry about my parents who passed who were both abusive. I don't want them here if they're the same. So I'm very sorry that you had that sort of upbringing, that they were that way. I hope that on the other side that they've been working on any shortcomings that they may have had here. They will not come visit you if you tell them not to. And just keep in mind that you're all in control of who can come and talk to you and when. It's very important. So if you don't want somebody to talk to you, just tell them, I don't want to talk to you. And they will listen to that. Oh, I guess it's 11:11 for some of you. It's 2:12 for me. So LEJ 1984 says, how long after someone passes are they ready to communicate or visit? So I made a video a couple weeks ago, and I said it takes 3 months, right? And a lot of people are like, no, it's immediate. So 3 months is a general rule, is a general idea. That's when I find it after 3 months, it's the easiest for someone like me in particular, to communicate with somebody. However, I've communicated with spirits who have passed a day earlier, a week, month, whatever it is, and up to like I think I've talked to people who have been dead for like 100 years before. So it all depends on how much you need them to talk to you and how much they want to talk to you, where they are on the other side, and how strong their will is to communicate. So I hope that helps answer it. I don't want to cast more questions on it. Why I give messages from spirit and stop no more? Why I give messages from spirit and then stop no more? Why? Perhaps you were just needed to take a break. Anybody who does mediumship or psychic work knows that you have to take a break. I've been on a break for about a week or so due to family emergency. And I woke up feeling really good today. Yesterday I made a video and said, have you ever been so tired that you want to throw up from being tired? That's not something I felt since Paris Island in 2005. And then I went to bed at 9 o'clock last night, and I didn't get up until 7:30 this morning, which is like an eternity of sleep for me because normally I'm like a 4-hour person. But I woke up this morning feeling much better. So maybe if you take some time to back up, reevaluate how tired you are or where you are in life, and start meditating a little bit more, you will start feeling better. I hope that helps. Why would I know about something I can't change? That's a really good question. I'm going to share a little bit of a story very soon about some things that I got during a reading that I didn't realize were psychic premonitions, which was a little bit... See, I'm down on myself because I got the messages and they are accurate. I just didn't know what they were. I felt like this woman's dad was choking, and I felt like he had passed. And she was like, no, he's still alive and he's fine. I don't know anything about him choking. And then several weeks later, she sent me messages, and she was like, I think what you saw was a bit of my dad's future because he was rushed to the ER for an emergency where he was choking. And then he ended up passing a week later from complications of what happened. So I'm still a little bit down on myself about not picking it up, but, to be honest with you, there's nothing I could have done to change it, so I can't be down on myself for that, but I am pissed off at myself for not knowing enough that was a psychic premonition and not coming from a medium standpoint. So don't be upset if you know something that you can't change. We knew that something bad was going to happen on the other side of the world, and there's nothing any of us could do about it. Sometimes we just have to roll into the situations that are presenting themselves to us, even when we have knowledge that they're going to happen, and deal with them accordingly. Okay, so don't feel bad. Grant King says, do you think Vogel crystals are legit or a gimmick? Just curious. So I'm going to tell you what, Grant, that's a good question. I don't know what a Vogel crystal is, but I'm going to write it down. I'm going to research it, and I will do my research on it, and I will put up some videos. And as a matter of fact, Grant King 631, I will tag you in them. Thank you for that. In crystals in general, I don't think they really necessarily have much of an energy or a power. It is proven that there are certain vibrations to different things, but that's said about everything on Earth. Vibrates at a different speed. If it didn't, we'd pass through things and fall through our chairs, and all kinds of other crazy stuff would happen, right? So I think there must be something. The one crystal I always keep, or mineral really, is my selenite. Is something I keep by because I think it is something that helps. I don't know if it's for focus or whatever it does for me, but it helps. I finally got nice mini urns for my parents and put them in today. Oh, good. I bet you they like that. Make sure you put them out and put a photograph near them. Anytime I speak to a spirit who has an urn, they love that stuff. Thanks, Grant King. You're asking a lot of really great questions, and although I feel like you might be a little bit skeptical about what I'm talking about, I totally appreciate the really nice way that you're interacting with me, and that's the way that I prefer that all of this business gets done. Because I don't claim to always be like right or know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm just basing things off my own experience and trying to help spread a little bit of love and positivity through all of the world as much as I can. Into my phone call, you were speaking about someone else's dad. Oh, interesting. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that happens sometimes too. Did my grandma understand me when I was talking to her a day or two before she passed? Yes. That's something that Spirit will talk to me about adamantly. One of my favorite stories is a woman who passed. She had dementia and was in a coma before she passed. She said, tell my daughter that I loved that my granddaughter brought me a stuffed penguin. I loved it. And the woman who was on the phone with me said, my mom could have never known that because she was, first off, had dementia and didn't know anybody. And then she was in a coma several days before she passed. And her granddaughter, her daughter, brought her the penguin. But her soul was already out of her body and watching the things that were happening. She was waiting for her body to stop so that she could pass. So yeah, they know what we're talking. So that was one of those things that you should know. All right, Grant. Thanks so much, buddy. I'm glad we're on the same page. Martha says, I want to know if my mom is happy with me. I can't communicate with her. I'll tell you that your mom is very happy with you. And although you're having trouble communicating with her, that she is with you and she's proud of all of your accomplishments and the things that you're doing with your life. Okay? I like this card for that. That was a nice thing. I hope that helps you. Like just now. So my question is, my partner's dad trying to reach him? Perhaps. I want to say, like, don't be this for you, Lydia. Is my partner's dad trying to reach him? So I want to say this phrase. Don't be afraid to let people know what the truth is, or don't let something about like telling people what the truth is. I think that's really important, and I hope it makes sense to you. Oh, you're having a boy. Was I right, Day Louise? Was I right or wrong? Tell me, because I don't remember. I think I said girl, so maybe I was wrong on that one, and I'm okay with that. Oh, I'm so sorry for all. I said girl. All right, you're in the 0.1% where I was wrong. Hi there. Nice to see everybody. Here's a great question. So first off, LEJ 1984. I'm very sorry that your son passed so young. Wow. I Here's a crazy thing. I had a dream that my 4-year-old daughter passed away last night, even though I had such a deep sleep. So maybe today I was supposed to talk about this kind of stuff. She's fine, by the way. Spirits sometimes continue to age. I found that recently I spoke to a boy who appeared to be about 8 years old, and he spoke to me and he told me about things that were happening in his grandparents' life while I was talking to them doing a reading. And they're like, it's crazy that he has all this information because he passed when he was just a couple days old. I said, well, he continued to age up until he was about 8, or apparently, because it was about 20 years ago that he passed. So yeah, they choose, or I don't know what the rules are. I'd be lying to you if I did, but they appear to be able to move forward with us if they want, or stay the same age. I guess it depends on what fits them and the family best to help. Yep, takes about 3 months or so for them to talk to us. But boy, I got scorched a bit here on TikTok. People are like, no, it's shorter than that. Oh, I'm so sorry. My mom, dad, and bro and son all passed. Wow, I'm so sorry to hear about that. Wow, what a tragedy. I'm sure that they're all together in the same space. I'm sure that they are. You're Linda that's interesting. So I'm just looking for you real quick. Linda, let me ask you something. Um, is there something about you still reading bedtime stories to your son that would be pertinent? Do you understand what that means? I feel like I want to say, like, I still hear you talking to me at night, or I still hear you reading me stories, or reading stories is so important. Does that make sense to you, Linda? Okay, Linda. So that's, I think, your son talking to me about that. So just know that no matter what age he was when he passed, I'm so sorry, by the way, that he is talking about this and just letting you know, like, I hear you and I can hear you well. Okay. So it's really important that you have that message and you know that they're okay. And he's saying we're all together. We're all okay. All right. I'm so sorry for your loss. Bamboo socks. I like your name. Someone took my earring and then suddenly appeared when I'm not sure, but my past stepfather. It may have been. And that phenomenon is called porting. So it's when an item is here and then it's gone and we have no reason for it to be gone and then it shows back up. So that's anybody who doesn't know would like that knowledge. It's called porting. Lucky Mom 77 says the moment my dad passed, he woke up all of his children. I think he was trying to tell us he was okay. Absolutely. That's what they do. So that's part of a visitation. The person who started the paranormal team now that I run, his name's Patrick. He's a super awesome guy. He by self proclamation is as psychic as a pine board. That's what he told me when we met. But he said he started off trying to figure out the paranormal or learn about it when his grandfather passed. He said he woke up and he looked at the edge of his bed and his grandfather was staring him right in the eyes and said something to the effect of, I've got to go, I love you, and then disappeared. And Pat said it was a changing moment in his life where he needed to find out what was going on because the next morning he had found out that his grandfather had passed and it wasn't just a dream. So yeah, they tend to come to us right at the time of their passing and let us know that they're going to be okay, like a final goodbye. So it's really sweet. So I hope that helps you. Hey, how do I practice seeing spirits better? Easily. You got to meditate. Whatever that means to you, you got to meditate. Meditation is the key to being able to see and speak to spirits better. I hope that helps. Yeah, Mimi, I'm so happy that you have your mom there. I also hear something for you, Mimi, like also messing with the blankets, or I'm also pulling the blankets. I'm also pulling the blankets. Like, I hope that makes sense. I see it like I'm pulling the blankets. Does that make sense to you, Mimi? Oh, thanks for the music notes. I appreciate it. Again, once we hit $100 on the tips, I'm gonna send it over to St. Jude. So I appreciate you. Thanks. My mother-in-law passed in December. We visited her in the ICU. Was she aware and is she around? She was totally aware, my friend. She knows. Oklahoma counselor. I like that. And you look pretty jacked in your picture. Good for you. Um, yeah, absolutely. So I was just visiting with my uncle who was in ICU, and I spoke with him, and I know that he could hear us. So yes, yeah. Pay attention, Mimi, because I think that she's doing something with the blankets, like pulling on them. And it's funny when I see certain clues, I talk about them. So I did a reading recently for a woman, and I said, your grandmother keeps talking to me about blankets, blanket, 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 blanket. I don't know what's so important about it. And she was like, I don't know. I don't even know what to make of it. So the next day she messaged me and she said, you kept talking about a blanket. My mom just gave my brother my grandmother's blanket and had a wolf on it. And she's like, I didn't even know we still had it because it was kind of gross. But my mom literally just gave it to my brother like 2 days ago. So I was like, okay, that's your grandmother acknowledging that your brother has the blanket. How funny is that? So is this interesting, right? Hey there, sweetie. How are you? Loving Gape. So I can see them better with my eyes with meditating. Yes, with your eyes closed, you'll be able to see them better. That's what I tell everybody. If you try to see things with your human eyes, it's very difficult. Up here is where you see it. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, Julie. Does my mom have any Thanks for that heart, by the way. Have any messages for me? I found her on the night she died. Oh my goodness. Number one, I'll tell you, Jules, that you definitely could not have. People pass, and it's sort of the plan, and there's something to that. I won't get into it now, but she's definitely at peace. Let's see if I can see anything for you, Jules. There's two things I want to say. One, beautiful daughter, so I hear that for you. And am I supposed to be talking about a wedding that you're going to have here shortly? Is that right? Is that for you? Jules with the jewels? Something about a wedding I feel like I want to talk to you about, Jules. Really? Really? So all psychics see them with their third eye? Really? Yeah, as far as I know. I haven't met many mediums or psychics that see things with their eyes open. Sometimes I do, but that's a kind of different sort of thing that I can do, and something else I would talk about in a different video. Okay, you're going to your best friend's wedding soon. So just know that she knows that that's happening. And she brought it up just to let you know that she's paying attention to your life and the things that you're doing. So that's really awesome. So there you go. She's okay. And she's happy. She smiled as she's talking. So I hope that helps you, Jules with the jewels. I like your name. You're very welcome. So folks, if you're hanging out with me, I appreciate it. It's really a blast every time. Loving GA Gape, you can see them with your eyes open, but I always say that when I see them with my eyes open, it means there's some sort of warning or something that is going to happen. Thank you, Miss Virgo, for all the roses. I appreciate you. Whenever I see them with my eyes open, it means that there's some sort of warning or deep message for it. So normally I only see them when I'm tuning in and looking for them, because I am in complete control of my abilities. Okay. Pork Chop Express Mama. Hi, how are you? Thank you for all those roses. I totally appreciate everybody. Man, sorry guys, I'm having a lot of backaches today. Your mother-in-law would definitely visit you if you were separated from her son. My ex-wife's mom visits me sometimes. She's such a sweetheart. I love her. They come by and say hello. Oh, kidneys. My kidneys are okay. It's my upper back. They're killing me. If anybody has any experiences or anything they want to talk to me about or email me about, you can send them over to scottynjmedium@gmail.com, and I'll read your emails. I like them. So that's for you, Denise. I see you said that you have an experience for me. Please send it to me. I'll read it. Oh, I love everybody. So I have to back up a little bit from the reading stuff. It's okay if you're asking, does hearing all these stories make me sad? No, because we're all sharing a same experience. And again, I haven't forgotten about you, my friend at Classic Horror Shop. I have not. Again, it's been a busy ass week. Every week. Doesn't stop. But it is about time for me to go pick up my son from school. So do me a favor. If you like what I have to say, please give me a follow. If you would like to come back for more lives, maybe I will start doing some more spirit readings here live, since it seems like people are reacting to them pretty well. I always try to be careful with that, because I want you all to know that that is a very private sort of experience for everybody. So, and I want to include as many people as I can. So if you're into that, or you want some more tarot readings, see, here's my next card, and it's me picking up more work that I don't need to do, but I want to. So if you're that person and you understand what I'm saying, please come and follow me and hang out. Please do me a favor, just like my videos, share them with your friends, and let me know how I'm doing. I appreciate everybody. So I'm going to go pick up my son. And this week I'm going to do a series on the places that are most likely not haunted, silly places and some actual places. And then the second part of that series will be places that are most likely haunted. So if you're into ghost stuff, follow that. And of course, I'll be doing some more advice from spirit guides along the way. All right. Thanks everybody for all the amazing interactions today. I really appreciate every one of you. It's been a real blast. And I promise you that if I have time, I will be back live tomorrow or the next day. Okay. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. Oh, for anybody who's asking, can you see the messages after this live if you're still here? In a day or so, this will be up on YouTube. It'll be TikTok Talk number 6 or 7, I think. So check that out if you want to rewatch this or get your message again. It'll be on my YouTube channel, which you can find up in my link in bio. As soon as you click out of the live, go to my page, snip feed link, and then click on my YouTube and subscribe. And then in about a day or so, this will be up there. It'll be it's under TikTok Talk, episode 6. I think this will be. All right, folks, have a great day. It was such a pleasure talking to you. I got to get going. Bye.